Do you want to be better at making decisions in your life? Do you want to improve your networking skills because it helps you in life, in business and personal life? And have you ever wondered why some people just brush off all the challenges that they encounter and others are really struggling on things that might seem quite easy? Do you wonder why some people are very good at making decisions and others just simply get stuck in indecision? In today's video, we're diving into the exciting world that is called emotional intelligence, your EQ. So if you want to understand how your decision-making skills, your networking skills, and your overall life can improve by just simply focusing on your emotional intelligence, stay tuned and let me explain it to you. So what exactly is your emotional intelligence? What is that EQ exactly? Your EQ is the indicator of your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, while also recognizing and understanding the emotions of others. Think of it as emotional awareness and your social smarts. I used to be impressed by people that were very intelligent, people that knew everything or at least a lot, people that gave me the impression that their intelligence level was very high. But I quickly recognized that I was actually not really impressed by people that were just knowing a lot of things about different kind of things. I was more impressed by the fact that some people only had good conversations. In every conversation they engaged in, there was fun, there was laughter, there was something serious, but both people were always happy with the outcome or with whatever was going on. People that were literally making the other person feel good while getting their own intended message across. That was something that I was intrigued by, and that was something I was impressed by on a very young age. And I started to try to discover what exactly this is. I thought this had everything to do with your IQ. So as soon as I started to understand and started learning what effect emotions had on the things that you think, you do, you say, how you act, whatever it is that the outcome is of your mental state of mind because of your feelings, I started to understand that the IQ was something completely different. This was my first moment that I encountered the EQ, your emotional intelligence level. What I saw was a lot of successful people. They all had this capability of having fun relationships, having successful conversations, and rarely they were in situations that they didn't want to be in. And to be honest, I was there all the time. So I started to dig into why is this not happening to everyone? Why are some people better at certain things than others, and why are certain people not in control of their relationships, the outcome of conversations, and therefore the results? When I learned to recognize my own emotions, my own waves, and how to respond thoughtfully no matter how I felt, everything changed. I changed the relationships in my life, the conversations that I had, and even the results that I got from my own actions, my own behavior. So the pattern inside my cognitive behavior was creating the results that I was living. And this goes for my personal life and my professional life. The relationship that I built with my own emotions, with my emotional state, and with the ups and downs that we all experience. I understood how to respond while I was still being observant and careful with the emotional state of the other. So why exactly is emotional intelligence important? Why is it something that I believe everybody should dig into? Because it is going to improve your complete life in different aspects, step by step. But as long as you stay focused on this, as long as you believe that you can improve yourself, that you can improve these kind of skills as well that are not really taught in school, I'll believe that you can create the life that you want. Because imagine if you have better relationships, a better way of communicating and connecting with people, an easier way to build your network personally or professionally. What if you are always the person that has the control over the conversation and you can maneuver it in the direction that you want it to go to because you simply understand where they are coming from? It's a combination of things. Being open-minded, being willing to understand other people's perspective, be willing to listen to what they're actually trying to say. So you have to understand what kind of message are they trying to get across. Once you get better at this, once you have practiced this over and over again, you will see that your conversations just flow, that your conversations are going how you want them to go. I'm not saying you're going to have toxic conversations where you're the manipulator. What I'm trying to say is that the conversation goes in the direction that you would like the conversation to head into. So instead of being the trigger for emotions for the other, make sure that you're the person that gives them the idea that they are heard, that they are understood, and that the conversation is going for a win-win. Both of you need to have a feeling that the conversation that you had was beneficial. Both of you need to have the feeling that the relationship that you have was beneficial. Both of you need to have the feeling that you're heard, that you're understood, and that you're actually improving together. People with low emotional intelligence, they tend to respond and live out of their impulses, out of their current state of mind and their current feelings. If you have a bad moment, let's say you start the day a bit rough, how many people do you know that say this is just going to be one of those days? That means they have already given up. It's just one of those days. The whole day is shit. What I love and what I really appreciate are people that had the same rough morning, but in just a few minutes or maybe a few hours, they turn it around because they focus on the good. They laugh about what went wrong. They laugh about their wet socks. They laugh about the toothpaste on their new shirt. They laugh about maybe the traffic jam because there's always something good in it. If you recognize your emotional state of mind, that means you can now thoughtfully respond to whatever people say, whatever situation occurs, and therefore you can become more in control of how you will feel after making that decision. So your emotional intelligence gives you more control over what will happen next. Imagine that you are the leader of a team and you have no emotional intelligence. Walk into the team meeting and there's just one person that says something to you that you don't really appreciate hearing. You're just gonna blow up this whole meeting. So what kind of leader do you think you want as your leader, or what kind of leader do you want to be? Professionally, what do you think? If your leader walks into the room and he had a little bit of a rough morning, is he allowed to completely lash out on you guys, on the whole team, just because he's feeling a little bit upset because of the traffic jam and the rough morning he had? Or would you prefer that he or she is in control of their emotions, and despite the fact that this person maybe had a rough morning, that they're still there encouraging you, creating solutions, and working towards a win-win for everybody involved? Who would you prefer to be in that room? Or better put, who would you prefer to be? Research shows that highly emotional, intelligent people are better at navigating challenges, handling conflicts, while inspiring others to do the same. Why do you think that in a lot of job interviews, the interviewer will always ask you questions how people will respond or react in a certain situation? That has nothing to do with your intelligence, it has to do with your emotional intelligence. How will you respond in certain challenging times? That is what people would like to know before they give you a job, especially when it's in leadership or management. So now that we know exactly what emotional intelligence is and what it does for us, how it can help us, how we can use it, now we need to know how can we improve it. Here are some strategies for you. If you feel any friction towards one of these, then probably that's the one that you should pick. Developing the skill that you do not look forward to. The growth lies in the area that you feel the most friction towards. Make sure you do all of these steps, no matter what you feel, no matter what you think. Do all of these techniques, guys, and I promise you that you will improve. Number one is increase your self-awareness. This is something that you can't have enough of, in my opinion. Start by tuning into your own emotions. Do this as often as you can. Make sure you have a certain strategy for this. Maybe my success journal can help you, where I simply ask you to journal in the morning and in the evening. If you could do it somewhere during the day, amazing. That means we have another moment. But make sure that you tune in with yourself multiple times per day, because we are going through waves the whole day. Ask yourself simple questions like, how am I feeling right now? How did I respond? How do I want to respond? What exactly is going on inside my head or inside my body? What am I feeling? Why am I nervous? Is it true that this colleague just triggered me a little bit? Was that response maybe out of frustration? I'm not going to ask you to analyze every single breath that you take, but what I'm trying to get into your habitual pattern is the fact that you check in with yourself. Being mindful over your own emotions is the very first step to mastering them. First, you need to be aware of what kind of emotions you're going through in what kind of situation before you can adjust your habitual response patterns. Number two is empathy. Try to see things from other people's perspective. Make sure that in every conversation that you're having, you're listening to understand what they're saying, and you're not listening just to respond. Listen carefully to what they're trying to say. If you're coming from a place of understanding, if you're trying to understand their emotions better, you're automatically creating a deeper connection. because the other person feels understood and heard and therefore will open up a little bit more. If this person trusts you, that means the conversation has an easier flow. It also means that this person now trusts you, that your response will be aiming for a win-win. So by improving your empathy, you can improve your communication, and therefore you improve your network, your connections, and your relationships. And number 3 is the most difficult one, which is self-regulation. This is where you're going to change your habitual patterns. This is where we're going to create new neural pathways. I talk about this in different videos and in my podcast. As soon as we're trying to create a new connection in our brain, that means we're creating a new habit. We can't change the old one, we can only build a complete new one. So self-regulation means that you're creating a new habitual pattern. You're generating that new connection. And it starts very thin, it starts very fragile, and the more you repeat this process, the stronger that connection will grow. So instead of you responding impulsively, you are now going to think about your response. You're going to be more thoughtful, more mindful. That means when you feel a strong emotion, try to take a pause, breathe, and respond with the intention of win-win. Respond with the intention of, I'm listening, I'm here for you. This is an absolute game changer when it comes to increasing the level of your relationships, increasing your emotional intelligence when it comes to challenges, and this is going to increase your skill set overall. You're going to improve your communication skills, your relationships, and therefore your results. Self-awareness, empathy, self-regulation. Check the homework because I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this. Okay, summing everything up, and of course the homework. This week the homework is all about journaling. It's all about becoming more aware of all these processes. What is it that I'm doing right now in my communication? What is it that I'm doing with my relationships? How do I network? What exactly am I saying? How do I present myself? I want you to become aware of yourself, of all of these aspects. I want you to write that down. I want you to make sure that you check in with yourself at least twice per day, in the morning and in the evening. But if you can do this more often by setting a reminder, maybe during your lunch breaks, maybe you do this every 2 hours, whatever works for you. But make sure you increase your self-reflection. Make sure that you understand yourself first before you're going to tell others how they should understand themselves. The homework link is in the description below, and I can't wait to hear everybody telling me how much they've improved and how much success they have generated just because of being honest and aware of ourselves. Remember that emotional intelligence is not just a skill that we can develop. It is an absolute superpower. Go look around. Look at the most successful people around you. Look at them, how they communicate. How do they build those relationships? How do they present themselves? What do they do in conversations? Try to analyze that a little bit and make sure that you pick the right things out of there that you can learn from and implement them in your own strategies. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please subscribe. It really helps me. What I always ask in return is just share this with one person. It's going to take 5 seconds out of your day. You're really helping me. You're hopefully helping them. And it gives you a good feeling because you're helping others. Stay aware of what you're doing, guys. Stay focused on what it is that you want and go get it.